Hi Don, how you doing? All right, let's go take a look. I've got your work up here. Now, you know the first thing I notice here is that you have compiled this in Word. This is a Word document. I don't recommend doing that. As a student right now, only use Word for your word processing work. Do not try to compile design work in Word. It's really super clunky, and it's just going to get you more frustrated than anything else. My recommendation is to stick with InDesign and or Illustrator. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. So first thing is the file size is 15 by 20, 15 inches wide by 20 inches high, 5 by 5 interior squares with 1 inch gutter between. Now this actually looks like this margin here is wider than this. So I would go ahead and say that this is not set up as optimally as possible. And again, take a look at the video in the course announcements. Now, course announcements for week 3 are critically important. There's all sorts of resources in here. You want to spend some time in this announcement. There's 6 videos and a ton of resources. So I can pretty much assure you, Dawn, that you're going to come out of this announcement, if you spend ample time in here, with a superior understanding of both the grid and hierarchy. At any rate, the reason I bring this up is because at the bottom of this video, all the way down at the bottom, there's this how to set up. It's a video on how to set up the file for assignment 3. So that shows you blow by blow exactly how to set things up to ensure that it's set up perfectly. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the different compositions. Now, in the first design, we're supposed to use no contrast in size or weight, all hierarchy based on grouping. And I think this is pretty good. And I actually think you did a really great job here because you have created 3 different groups. One is the title. That's smart. That A plays first position in hierarchy, place emphasis on that as being first position in hierarchy. Then you have the second group, which all has to do with engine components and descriptions of engine. And then this is all about the radios. So that's great. 3 different groups here is great. That's perfect. Good job. Now, in the second one, it's a 1 new size and 1 new weight. But you've actually included, this is a new size and a new weight right up here. That's perfect. But for some reason, you've got a capital and you've increased the size of the H in hurricane and the D in dispatch. Do not recommend doing that. Emphasis, this is called a drop cap, which you've done, or a raise cap. And basically what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're, when you're creating emphasis in a situation like this, you want to create emphasis on different phrases. Okay, so let me show you the example over here. And again, this is in the course announcement. But right over here, you can see this is second design is 1 new size, 1 new weight. So there's 1 new size, there's 1 new weight. Okay, so everything there on in is emphasized for the whole text area or description, as opposed to trying to emphasize 1 letter out of a text. You don't want to do that right now. We'll get to that that's called a drop cap or a bringing emphasis, and we'll talk about that. We'll get there, but right now you don't want to do that. You want to create emphasis based on the descriptions. Okay, so this would be fine actually with removing that bolded oversized H and D and just adding your 1 new size to the title area, size and weight. Okay, and then over here, this one is asking, number 3 is asking for multiple contrasts in weight and scale. And I don't see that here. I see a couple of areas where you've increased, like you've increased the size of CB, but radio seems to be the same. So you want multiple contrasts based on, so here's 1 new weight, here's 1 new size, 1 new weight, here's another new weight, and then here's a 4th size. So this has multiple contrasts. You want to make sure that you're adding multiple contrasts. Now, the 4th is, again, multiple contrasts. Right now, we're not seeing that. I see a new size and weight here. I see a new weight here. That's it. That's not multiple. Okay, you want to create multiple contrasts. And the 4th design, you also want to make sure that that car is cropped. Okay, so you want to remove the background from the car, and the car has to bleed in two places. So I'm going to go ahead and say that if you were to crop this car and enlarge it to the point where it would, you could actually bleed it in 2 places, like place it right down there at the bottom. So it's bleeding off the bottom in two places. But a lot of times a side view of a car is great because you can make it bleed and have it just really incorporate very well into the composition. Okay, so you're definitely, that's got to be black and white too. So I've got to really want to review the course specifications right here, black and white, shades of gray. And then over here is, you want the cropped portion of your muscle car. Okay, so those are my recommendations. A couple of little housekeeping tips here. Definitely go to week 3 announcement. Spend some time in there, Teresa. You're going to love it. It's a great announcement. There's so much in here for you guys to absorb. I highly, highly, highly recommend spending some time in this announcement. Then what I would like you to do is I jump over to page 101 in the textbook, take a look at the examples. Those are examples of exactly how to do this assignment. The subject matter is a little bit different. Nonetheless, it shows you exactly how to create hierarchy based on scale, based on weight, alignment, and proximity, placement, grouping. Okay? All right, so if you have any questions at all, please let me know. But I'd like to see those recommendations reflected in your final submission due Sunday. And again, please let me know if you have any questions. And again, try to stay away from Word. You don't want to use Word for any kind of design work at all. That's not what it's made for. So definitely stick with your Adobe software suite. Okay, thanks very much.